creating hope in the world.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk Today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Thank you very much for joining us. Another fantastic Friday edition, not just because, well, we're alive to see the day and we're giving thanks and we're going to make the best of it, but a chance to celebrate food, fun, and fellowship, what it means to bring family and friends together. Well, stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is reminding you.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard.
And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome back, and thank you very, very much for this truly privileged and honorable position to sit here and facilitate on a daily basis, to invite people into the studio and to learn from them, to laugh with them, and to, through our discussions, to show an unending love, to our community. It just makes us that much better. Mr. Allen, good to see you again. How are you today, man?
I'm doing good. Good to see you. It's been a while.
It's been a while, man. I'm sure there's a song. It's been a while. It's been too long. And I say that not in any way to showcase my singing ability or lack thereof, but I sit in front of a musician who is probably genetically predisposed to being able to understand the importance of music. But it's not just the ability to play and perform; it's the ability to appreciate. So, Rodney, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. It's nice to be back.
Yeah, man, thank you. Thank you, too, for allowing us to, prior to the show, to be able to laugh, because it's not just the lighthearted levity that we bring to, our conversations. It's the appreciation that life has to offer. And there's something about music. So, Rodney Marcellus, welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
All right. I want to do a couple of things, if I might, in today's discussion. Alan Mark, I'll start with you first. Not just speaking about the Cayman Arts Festival and what it can mean, especially as it celebrates its 20th anniversary, but what it has meant thus far to our communities. Rodney, I'm not going to in any way try to impose on you, but I'm going to ask you to allow us to celebrate this by celebrating you. A community as small as this, a space that with the greatest of respect, no matter how much international acclaim, whether it's famously or infamously, whether on Hollywood or in some broadsheet elsewhere, Cayman can be overlooked on a map if we still have those paper printed maps up on walls in office somewhere, because you may not see it unless you drill down. But yet it has not only attracted, but it has invited people who have come and enjoyed. So along with that, Cayman Arts Festival in 20 years, tell us from your perspective where we are, where we're going to go, and what we're going to be doing, man.
Well, it's been a great 20 years for the Cayman Arts Festival. It started out in 2004 as a biennial festival, so they would bring in some top-rated, mostly classical at first musicians, but then they started adding some jazz. But eventually, it grew, and to the surprise of a lot of people, it grew so quickly, and it's now an annual festival that started in 2020. But the other thing that the Cayman Arts Festival has done is really progressed a music education program for children, and it's always been part of the mission. And they would have the artists come in, and they would give master classes to students at the schools. And then they had summer camps, and then they saw that there was enough demand that they could actually start an after-school program. And so that's one of the biggest impacts, I think, that Cayman Arts Festival has had on the community, is that it's really nurturing the next generation of musicians here in the Cayman Islands, and that's I think the most remarkable part about it. Of course, the entertainment that they brought in over the years has been extraordinary, and it's not just a once a year festival either. They have a piano festival every October now that started 2 years ago, and during the course of a year they'll have other events as well. So and there's a monthly music at the library as well.
Yeah.
So there's events all year long.
And I'm glad that you sort of emphasized that almost at the outset. Running through you, we've always heard, many of us, I have said it, we've heard it said, if music be the food of love, play on. And yet there's this thing about music and its perception, and especially classical music or other instruments. And hopefully we'll get to a place where whatever that perception is, that is sort of directed and redirected so that it's inclusive, both as the performer, as the aspiring musician, but as the audience. Through you and to you, how did you find yourself in the space you are? And give us a little bit of history of how you ended up there.
The main word that you said that helps me to answer that question is the word inclusive.
Yeah.
And I'm from New Orleans. So my perspective of music and what it was and who should participate, I didn't realize how unique it was.
Yeah.
Being from New Orleans, I thought the whole world was like that. I thought the whole world was like what I grew up with in the French Quarter, and so many different cultures in one place coming together. And even with the very first group that I put together, we would go to the French Quarter, we would play outside. People were like walking around. They were right there with us, everyone.
Yeah.
And I thought everything was like that. I thought the whole world was like that. But that sense of, well, this is classical music. This is only for these people, or this is jazz. This is these people. I didn't grow up with that, and to me it was just music. Like it was something to like connect people, and now as I've out in the world, that's not the perception for some people. It's like where classical music is. It's like even in general, like the audience is separate from the performer, and it's just like this thing of be quiet, don't clap there, don't do that, and it takes a little bit of the joy out of the connection, and so for me it's just been trying to bring what I grew up with. To different parts of the world.
And this is something that I'm mindful of and very conscious, very deliberate in asking our audience here to look. I grew up in a household where country, classical, and calypso were played, almost like what the young people call it now. What's your playlist? Back then it was I shouldn't say this, a track tape where you had a third or three, and you put it on, you listened to Little Child of Pride, and you took it off, and then you had a little bit of, Sparrow, and then after that, a little bit. And I had that opportunity. One of my mother's uncles, like many Caymanians and much of the family, they moved and settled in New Orleans, right? And one of my greatest memories is to go to the House of Blues and to listen. Now, maybe I am a prude. I didn't enjoy necessarily the French Quarter at certain times of the year. I'm just not quite sure why. Maybe I won't say that publicly. But it was vibrant, from the beignets to, I must say this and ask publicly. I thought the food would be a lot more spicy than it is, man.
In New Orleans?
In New Orleans, man. I mean, I was thinking, okay, put some heat in this thing. But from the food to the family, and when we come back from this break, let's show through this celebration, through someone like you sharing with us that this is about inclusion, both as that prospective student of music who wants to learn an instrument, to that parent who's nurturing, to the rest of us as an audience who sitting there and just enjoying. And man, if you can't appreciate Cayman, you know what? take a breath, because you will.
Yeah, it's true.
Stay tuned for Talk Today.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Now is the time to see LA your way.
The Cayman Airways LA midweek sale has been extended until February 24th.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
At Bransour's Home Gallery, we believe in love at first sight, especially when it comes to closets. And we're spreading the love by offering 15% off on custom closets throughout the month of February. Let our experts design the closet you've been dreaming of, a functional space that's perfect for you. Save 15% on all custom closets this February at Bransour's Custom Closets. You dream it, we'll design it and build it. Visit Bransour's Home Gallery today for a free in-store consultation. Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Phone 623-6774.
The Business Buzz. Each and every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m. Brought to you by
Cayman Insurance Center, celebrating 45 years in the Cayman Islands, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much. I'm really not just excited, but just enthused that we can live in such a, relatively speaking, small space in terms of its geography, its population, no matter what we may say or think, and to have such a phenomenal global reach and appeal. So to Alan Markov and Rodney Marsalis, thank you through the Cayman Arts Festival, for allowing us to share in that fabric, to celebrate and to invite. So before I get too excited and we forget and it'll be 1 o'clock and you guys have to go do something else, I think there's there have been a number of good events this week, and there are a few more coming up. So tell us.
Yes, and then just to go further on what you were just saying, our events so far this week, we started off with a free organ recital at the St. George's Anglican Church on Sunday right after service. And it was Asiya Koropanova, who was born in Russia, immigrated to the United States about 13 years ago, and she's a virtuoso piano player. So she played it, and she also learned the organ. So she did the organ on Sunday, and on Monday night she did a recital of Rachmaninoff. It was absolutely brilliant. These were both at the that was at the Hartwell Theater, and so, she brought that bit of international flavor to the festival this year. And then the following day, there was a free concert for children in the afternoon, a field trip for kids. About 300 kids came out from 8 different public and private schools. And Asia played first she played on her own, then she played a duet with Glenn Ananga, the artistic director and co-founder of the Cayman Arts Festival. And then Emmy Award-winning conductor and violinist John McLaughlin Williams was also. And I think the kids were very, very impressed and interested, and it gave them a taste of classical music. And I think it's really important. I mean, my interest in classical music happened when I was on a field trip back in my school days, when I got to see the Cleveland Orchestra play, and that's what made me like classical music from that age.
Is that true?
Yeah.
You know what? Because I heard part of that story, but I heard it was when Bach once did his solo performance. That's when you saw it. It's not true.
I knew he was going there. I knew he was going there.
I'm old, but not that old.
All of these years. Okay, listen, publicly. No, see, this is the laughter that we have through these things. Wow.
Yeah. And so, then on Wednesday we had something that was, for me, very unique in the Cayman Islands, and we had a string concert. And it was 11 or 12 musicians from overseas came over, that collaborate with John McLaughlin Williams, and they combined with the best string players in the Cayman Islands, and so we had like 19 string performers, along being conducted by Mr. McLaughlin Williams, and it was phenomenal. I mean, to hear that here in Cayman, it was pretty special, and it was so far one of my favorite events. And of course, last night we had a recital, which was a cello, violin, and piano recital, and it was supposed to be, Caymanian star cellist, the young DeQuan Smith, who was supposed to play, but unfortunately DeQuan became ill and wasn't able to attend. So luckily we had one of the visiting cellists play. And it just so happened that he was one of the selections that DeQuan had selected to play last night, was one that he just recorded in Oklahoma. So he was very familiar with it. It was very challenging as well, but it was beautiful. And they've been all well attended so far, but we still have some of the best yet to come. We have Rodney coming tomorrow night, and I think he should talk a little bit about that.
Yes. Thank you. Sure. All right.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really fun. We're looking forward to this program. It's with Bach aria soloists, and it's a collaboration that we put together. We did it in Kansas City about 3 years ago. And so Elizabeth, she's the founder of Bach aria soloists, and I've known her a long time, back to 25, 30 years ago at Tanglewood, that we were friends. And but from a distance, I saw her. She went to London Symphony, performed with them, and then came back with her husband in Kansas City and started Bach aria soloists. And she's kind of an icon in Kansas City. And I just dreamed of playing with her one day, professionally. And we put together this concert, and we did it in Kansas City as a collaboration. And we thought, wouldn't it be great to do this somewhere else? and I was here in the Caymans, and I presented it to Glenn and Marius and the program, and they looked through it and they said, I think we could do this on the festival. And so that's how we ended up bringing it here.
That's tomorrow night, I think, 7 p.m. At the Cayman Baptist Church.
And it's going to be a 2-part show, correct?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of different styles that we're doing. Because we're taking a West Side Story, and we're doing some arrangements from West Side Story, because there's a singer. Yeah. They have a very unique ensemble, because there's a soprano, Sarah, and then there's also cello and violin, and a pianist who will for this concert she's playing piano.
Yeah.
And as I listen to you and trying to not just prepare so that at least I be respectful, to your presence and your time, but to encourage the people that I think, Ronnie, you shared it at the outset. It's about inclusion, bringing people in. It doesn't matter your perception. In fact, this is when you should challenge your perception. The venues that you selected thus far are all fantastic, but I think both the Kimmelay's Baptist Church Auditorium and First Baptist when I use, they're great acoustics, but they're great spaces that almost invite this level of reverence and appreciation for the talent and the type of music. It's just something about it that not just majestic, but almost transcendental. At least to me. What do you think, Rodney?
Well, that's as we were talking earlier about being from New Orleans and about people, especially with classical music, and about who belongs in a classical music concert, not just on the stage, but also in the audience. That's as we were saying earlier. In New Orleans, I just didn't learn that sort of distinction as far as classical music's not yours. It's like music belongs to everyone. It's as a human being, it's our birthright.
And to me, as you were sharing, I keep thinking back to the sort of the kitchen bands of Cayman long ago, and we may call it a violin. I think the violin and the fiddle is one and the same necessarily, but its approach and what it can do, and how at 1 minute it can be soothing and somewhat somber, and at the next minute it's so energized that you're finding even your the hairs on your head be going because it moves you, right? And so if music is that thing that allows you to appreciate no matter what is being played and performed, you as a spectator, can be reminded of life.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And and music, when you watch it or hear it and see it live, is just a different feeling. I mean, you really feel it through your body, and you get to experience it in a different level.
That's so true. When the pandemic when it got to the point where we were performing live again, we did what we could during the pandemic. We would do things, people would watch it on the screen, right? The first concert that we did back was at Chautauqua, and you could feel it from the audience. When you're on stage, you feel what the audience feels. You feel you felt this sense of appreciation for hearing live music again. And people were so grateful because they had been looking at screens for so long. And they're just like, as you're playing, though, you feel it. It's like on the stage, you feel it. So it's a really important thing.
Isn't that an interesting phrase, live music, performing live, as opposed to... Always, my friends who are musicians, I'm thinking to myself, I wonder how that would work otherwise, right? But you guys are the philosophers and the musicians and the poet, and but is it possible to not have a live?
You're gonna have recorded as opposed to recorded.
People are going like, really? He's trying to be funny today? No, but there is something about the energy of live music, and even in the early days of Cayman with our friends who, they wasn't in the garage. They might have been in the front porch or somewhere in the house where their mothers would allow them to make noise. That was the thing. And they would perform, and to watch that evolution of live performances from the hotel lobby to the big arena, and from that international acclaimed artist to this guy who is so nervous about having a little segment, and to watch the audience respond and to hear it, from the sound check, to that curtain call. And then if you're in the auditorium, the Performing Arts Center, or you at the sanctuary of some church, you can appreciate the rendition of Amazing Grace, to something from some other genre. If I might, though, when we come back from the break, Ron, I want to restart with you and ask about the playing of instruments in classical music, and how you found yourself playing what you play and why and the like. Because specifically, I want us as parents to say to our child, you may not be able to take that grand piano and carry it around with you as you can the guitar. But don't let the size or your perception, the complexity of the instrument, be that deterrent for at least trying it. All right, stay tuned for Talk Today.
Question.
If you could,
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Now is the time to see LA your way.
The Cayman Airways LA midweek sale has been extended until February 24th.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
This is Ronnie Anglin. I work in the water sports industry. I'm concerned that our islands are at a high risk of coral bleaching and coral disease outbreaks. Rising sea levels, sea temperatures, and ocean acidification have caused catastrophic increases in the number and severity of coral bleaching events, disease, and death. Snorkeling and diving may one day not be an option. To learn more about climate risk to our islands, visit www.gov.ky/climate change policy.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks to both, Alan Markov and by extension the Cayman Arts Festival, and our fantastic guest, Mr. Rodney Marsalis, for joining us. I kind of wish this was the time when my parents may have been a little bit more insistent and said, I paid for your music lessons, you're going to get the money's worth. But they allowed us. It's kind of why I was asking the question, because sometimes we don't gravitate towards it because there's this perception, misconception, there's an expense, there's another thing. And by extension after that, Alan, I want to invite you into it too, because this is where we grow as a society. But to you, Mr. Marsalis.
You know what? I'm going to give a shout out to my mom here, because
good son.
As far as that I have a 7-year-old daughter now. I'm just now starting with piano, and I'm remembering with the trumpet, for example, to get started. Well, but for my mom, she was like, she's like, well, you're going to play that thing until I finish paying it off.
I brought you into this world.
so there was that, but then it was, I was forced, I was kind of made to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Until it hit a point where I kind of remember the time when it was like I had a choice. So she's like, well, do you want to keep going with the trumpet or do you want to? And at that point, though, I'd start to be able to express myself on the trumpet.
Yeah.
And so for a child, there's a sort of freedom because you want to express yourself somehow. And I had found it, but I had to get to that point. I needed that time period where she made me do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have stopped. And that's so for you talking about obstacles, sometimes it's that time period when they're first starting and maybe it seems like, to play piano, it's it's too big, or to have to take lessons and practice scales every day.
Yeah.
There's sort of dues you have to pay, but it's the reward of being able to express yourself musically and play music with your friends is magical, and so that's.
Permit me to pretend that we're in the House of Parliament and I offer up a supplementary question. Use the word forced, and I welcome that. So as parents, but specifically as fathers, sometimes in our society, and especially in today's parlance and world, we don't use that word. But think back to those of us who are where we are, and our parents were, well, not forceful. They were insistent. They were very, very encouraging. So let's find some other euphemisms to use. But they ensured that, listen, you're a child. I know better for you. If you think about it, they're making you understand the value of commitment. You started this thing.
That's right.
September to December, we're going to go through. Come December, the term is over. You can then decide and we start something else.
That's right.
Right? So whatever word people want to use, I like the fact that you use that. She's insisted, hey, we're going to do that. I'm going to take you, going to make sure you get there. You're going to be safe there, going and coming. And then look at where you happen. And I'm convinced if you said, no, can I try something else? She said, okay, let me try something else.
Right. Yeah. It's that initial time, and you said something earlier, you have your opinion. It's probably wrong. But I have a 7-year-old daughter. It's and that's what it is. But as her father, I see the bigger picture that she might have an opportunity to have. Yeah. I'm not going to. If she doesn't at some point gravitate to something, I'm not going to say keep doing it.
No.
But I'm the one who can see further down the road because I've been down the road further, and that's our duty as parents and in general for kids.
And Alan, as you come into the discussion, I hope parents again like the instrument or like the sports or whatever the activity is. You go with your children, you'll be there, but you also be mindful. It could be a person. If the child is not comfortable, whether it's at school or the piano lesson or the math tutoring or whatever, listen to the child. There may be something or someone, whatever that thing is, right? You're there. You're actively engaged, involved, informed parent. Yeah. And that's what makes the success
extremely important.
Yeah. Well, I can relate an experience I had. As I was saying, I've done a lot of the writing in the commemorative program, and for part of that, I went to one of the Saturday morning after school programs.
Yeah.
Now, I'm thinking, Saturday morning, what children want to go play music and practice music on Saturday morning? But what I found shocked me.
Yep.
These kids wanted to be there, and they were totally focused on this. And some of them as young as 5 years old. And so they were all in different rooms. Some were practicing the saxophone, some were practicing the flute, others were strings, there was steel pan, and there was literally probably 100 different kids in different rooms there. And they came in aged groups, like early in the morning was the younger kids, later was the older kids, and they wanted to be there. And for kids, there's a lot of sports that kids can get into here, and that provides them structure and the kind of discipline. But for kids that aren't sporty, music really gives them an opportunity to do this, and it helps them with discipline. It helps them with responsibility. It helps them, as Rodney can attest, it's mathematical. Music is very mathematical. Yeah. It helps them in school. It also helps them socialize. So there's a lot of benefits to it, and one of the things that the youth orchestra that they have here, the Camerata, is amazing now. It really is. It's like I've never seen a better group of young kids play. I mean, it's so good. The program's so good, and they're going to have a chance this coming next Thursday, to play. And I invite people to come out. They will be amazed. It's at the John Gray Performance Hall. They'll be playing with a trio from Latvia who's there, and it'll be a fantastic concert, and they're going to get a chance to really see what the kids and what the Cayman Arts Festival music education program has done.
Right. And this is where I think, in particular as parents, there are a lot of wonderful offerings to the community, from sport to music and other artistic endeavors. And I would like us as the parent, as the adult, to go, but also bring our children. So as we closer to our discussion, Rodney, through you, tomorrow evening, if you'd allow us to say, we've had great, phenomenal talent thus far. Again, tomorrow with you and the back area. We see so much, and yet we miss it, and then we regret. What do you say to our listeners about if they can still get tickets? It's tomorrow, 7 p.m. at the Cayman Baptist Church.
Well, I think that notion of bring your kids. Yeah. Because that, like for me, that's trumpet. It's my family. It was very musical, but it's when I saw Winton, my cousin, playing the trumpet, like, and I was like, jaw on the floor, and that impression as a kid, you know. So, you know, bring them to the concert. You know, if I hope tickets are still available.
Yep, there's still tickets available.
Okay, yeah, and bring your kids, because you never know, because that might be the spark for them to want to do this. And then even if as a teacher, that's something I find very important. When I meet a new student, I also want to meet the parent and work with the parent. And here, that's when the Caymans have been doing that, as I'm taking on more and more students, and that really matters. That working with the parent, with the student, and that makes a huge difference.
Well, tickets are available.
Yeah, you can buy them online at CaymanArtsFestival.com. And if there's any tickets left, they're available at the door tomorrow. So,
7 p.m. at the Cayman Baptist Church, right?
That's correct, on Pedro Castle Road.
All right. Well, one final question to Rodney, if I might. Again, to the parent, because we know the music teacher is always encouraging, and always, but sometimes as a parent, we're not quite sure about the cost. Now, we know the Cayman Arts Festival have great programs, and the instruments and even the tuition are heavily subsidized or free. But sometimes, as a parent, we don't want, you know, that noise in the house, so to speak. We don't know, sure. How do we tell a parent, you know, let the child explore, just like you?
Well, you know, you talk about the cost, for example. You know, we have a thing there's a thing that we're doing, and it's a retreat where we allow top-notch professionals to work with students. And when I remember in the process of advertising, I would talk about the cost. And I would talk about the cost of not doing that sort of thing, because this investment, for example, on just numbers, you know, you spend $3,000 in a year or something, but then that kid develops and is able to get a huge scholarship down the road. When you add up the numbers, it's a very good investment in your child. And, you know, so that's why we do things like that. And like we're going to do it here in the Caymans too, and at the end of May, beginning of June. It's a great investment. You're investing in the future of your child.
And, you know, and even if you don't get a career in music, it gives you an appreciation of music, which enriches your life.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like what you shared earlier. You know, she was on with us, I think it was Monday, and she was talking about in Russia, the culture is everybody's exposed and introduced into music, whether they become internationally acclaimed, doesn't matter, but they're in the audience. They can appreciate what it is, the discipline. There's something that it does to the mind with music. We've seen it, but what it does for fellowship, for camaraderie, for community. And I think tomorrow, then like any of the other concerts, this is another way to look around and go, wow, you know, a small space geographically, but its value is immeasurable. Alan, thanks very much, man.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Ronnie, it's great, man. I can't say to you that I'll ever, you know, be able to blow the trumpet at all, but I'm just hopeful that I can.
I try my best, man. I try my best.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to pause. We're going to go to the news. When we come back, we're going to have some things. But if you can get the Cayman Arts Festival and tomorrow evening at the Baptist Church in Pedro, please do so, man. Until then, join us right after the break.
Covering Little Cayman, Cayman Bride.
Cover me. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The government is expected to present several bills at the third meeting of the 2023-2024 parliamentary session, which will begin on Monday, February 26th at 10 a.m. These include bills that were deferred from the last meeting of the House of Parliament. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines in news elsewhere. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has laid out his vision for a post-war Gaza. Under his plan, Israel would control security indefinitely, and Palestinians with no links to groups hostile to Israel would run the territory. The U.S., Israel's major ally, wants the West Bank-based Palestinian Authority to govern Gaza after the war. But the short document, which Mr. Netanyahu presented to ministers last night, makes no mention of the PA. And Spain is reeling from the news that 5 people have died and up to 15 people are missing after a fire engulfed a high-rise apartment block in the city of Valencia. The blaze engulfed a 14-story building in the Campana neighborhood and spread to an adjoining block. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
The Health Services Authority has over 120 world-class physicians offering the most comprehensive range of specialist services on island. Our dedicated team of professionals provide the highest quality care in orthopedics, interventional radiology, women's health, geriatrics, and a host of other specialist areas. We are a JCI-accredited organization with a proven record of excellence. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands. Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts, MBE, JP. Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts, MBE, JP, was born at Cotton Tree Bay, Cayman Brac, on October 15, 1916, to James Nathaniel Tibbetts and Elsie Huldah Tibbetts, née Hunter. He was a man of many talents. From shipbuilding, seafaring, a military career, a prosperous entrepreneur, and many decades of service to the people of Cayman Brac and the Cayman Islands as a whole. After serving as a member of the lawmaking body known as the Vestry from 1946 to 1968, he represented the Cayman Islands at the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association in Trinidad in 1968 and again in 1978. In 1969, he was appointed a JP. Then in 1976, he was elected to the Legislative Assembly for a 4-year term. Notably, the Cayman Brac representative petitioned the Legislative Assembly with names of over 400 Cayman Brackers, stating they wished to remain a crown colony rather than follow Jamaica's route of independence. In 1977, he represented the Cayman Islands at the Queen's Silver Jubilee in London. In 1988, he was made a member of the Order of the British Empire, MBE, among numerous other community awards, and served with many groups from Ebenezer Baptist Church to Education Councils, Veterans and Seamen's Society, CUC, and the Rotary Club of Cayman Brac. As a testimony of his contributions to his community and connection to sea and tourism, in 1996, shortly after his passing, a Russian destroyer was renamed the MV Captain Tibbetts in his honor and sunk in Cayman Brac waters by the Cayman Islands government to become a popular dive site. After a long and distinguished life of service to his community, he passed away on March 10, 1996. He was married to the late Hilary Elizabeth Marjorie Tibbetts, and together they had 5 children. This was part 7 of a special Sister Islands vignette series dedicated to Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts.
I'll be back. I've got 22 more days.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land. Explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and always, prayerful that I will always, and I have a friend who says, there are no absolutes, so don't say always, but this is where I would be more than willing to be politically corrected, because I think this is where we should say, we should always be prayerful and purposeful and willing to always do our utmost, for the most. So the Parenting and Practice Nova at the Family Resource Center, Ms. Amber Holm, you and your colleagues, and since we have the honor of having your company, you're always welcome here, and we're so grateful that you share with us. So welcome. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me once again. We love joining you. Whenever we're having our campaigns that we're launching, we are always welcome to Radio Cayman, so I thank you for that. Today we're here to talk about our biggest campaign yet, which is Honoring Women Month. Before we even get into talking about the campaigns, just as a reminder to the listening audience, the Family Resource Center, we provide a number of family programs. One of the programs that I run is called the Young Parent Services, which our Honoring Women Month campaign, which I'm going to talk about a bit more, we raise funds towards that program, right? We run a number of campaigns, with the Honoring Women Month campaign being the biggest one, but some other ones is the Teen Pregnancy Prevention campaign in May, our Stood Up Anti-Bullying campaign in October, International Men's Day in November. So we keep ourselves very busy, and one of the things we keep ourselves most busy with all year round is individual parent coaching. So just as you said, my title is a parenting practitioner, meaning if you find, if your family is experiencing any challenges, we are the ones you come to, and we're able to help you through that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and I use it once more, deliberate always. I think we should always be willing to invest in our young people and in our community, and always show respect to our elderly, because their service and sacrifice, no matter where they are now, has meant that they've had life under their belts. We can benefit from them.
Most definitely.
But anyway.
Yeah. So, Honoring Women Month is happening throughout the month of March, and you may see a number of people walking around with these wonderful purple t-shirts. I have to say, this year the t-shirts look wonderful. A part of it was designed by our program coordinator, Miss Anne-Marie Diaz. It is beautiful. I can't wait for you guys to see the t-shirt. It's only $25, so please come and get your shirt and represent. And the reason we do sell those shirts is to stimulate conversation. So when you see this beautiful purple shirt, yes, it's great to admire, but also ask questions, right? It does have our theme on it this year, and our theme is Inspire Inclusion, right? That just means we want to inspire and forge a more inclusive world for women, right? When we inspire others to understand and value women's inclusion, we obviously forge a better world. And when women themselves are inspired to be included, there's a sense of belonging, and they're feeling more empowered, right? So we want to get that conversation going, right? This year is our big 25th anniversary, so we have so many different events happening throughout the month of March. Our calendar will be available very soon, but I feel confident in saying almost every day we have an event happening, and there's something for everybody. Honoring Women Month is so important to us because it is a celebration, and it highlights women's achievements that we've been able to, achieved thus far.
Yeah,
But we also do recognize gender-specific issues that affect us as women, right? And some of them might be experiencing domestic violence. Statistics say that women are more susceptible. The stats say 1 in 3 women are victims of domestic violence. It might be sexual assault. It might be falling susceptible to teenage pregnancy. It might be in the workplace, unequal pay. It might be just lack of representation of women in certain industries, right? So those are some things that we're looking to stimulate the conversation around when it comes to some of our events this year, right?
You know, and as you're sharing, Ms. Alma, I'm just reflecting that here we are, 2024. And, we just had a private company, presumably a private company, according to published media reports, in the U.S., putting some object on the moon or the like, and we know India and China are there. And I go back to the comedians. Isn't it funny? And not just funny, haha, that you can get more news, more timely, accurate information from your stand-up comic than from your evening news, right? But they would say, well, since you can put a man on the moon, why can't we? Right? And that's a long-standing joke, but not funny in that sense, in that here we are in 2024, and women still in Cayman, not just globally, not just in some other part of the world, may not feel a sense of value and respect and not being treated fairly. Not only should she, have a seat at the table, she should be owning the table, but she's probably not even included.
There is no seat at the table, or there is no chair reserved for the woman, right? So when we think about inclusion, yes, it is about sex or gender. We'll say gender. But it's also about age. You're thinking about ethnicity. All of those different things. We want to look around and see that different ages, ethnicities, genders are being included, but women specifically, right?
With their permission. I'm invited to share publicly. So there are many, many great things about Cayman. Not that there aren't things that aren't so great. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But one of is that we have so many nationalities.
Yeah.
And amongst those nationalities, we can learn so much about their food and their practices and their cultural norms and the like. So I reached out to a few of them. I'm glad that they consider me friend, as I do them. And I asked, got this conversation coming up on Friday. I want to understand what is it like, from your perspective, and then they share with their culture. And even though they've been here for a long time, I'll narrow it down to 3 very distinct sort of countries without identifying. And I've been with those friends for the longest time. So when they first came to Cayman, whether deliberately and consciously, probably was their practices and habits were what they did. Their foods, the way they, their family household was operated. And so we chatted about that. And now, however, decades later, in their home countries, women and their girl children, as we would say in Cayman, still are not expected to get an education or an education beyond a certain level, or only if you're a particular part of a family or from one particular caste or tribe or whichever.
Yeah.
This is in 2024.
Yeah, definitely. And of course that those cultural beliefs or those familial beliefs or values, that's exactly why we have all of these events. That's why March is Honoring Women Month, because even if it's only getting through to 1 or 2 people and they have that aha moment, that's still 1 or 2 people more than before this campaign launched, right? So it's just about getting the conversation starting the conversation and really recognizing, hey, I have a seat at the table. I can do this too, right?
And there are times when, not only do I own the table, I own the building in which the table is in. And if you don't stay in your lane, boy, and we're not saying that to be confrontational or exclusive.
Most definitely not.
But we want people to appreciate it. And why I use the example of those 3 individuals is that, as you shared, they had that aha moment. Now they've been in Cayman, and their children, including their girl children, they're like, wow, not only is this a safe, great place to live in terms of its civility, but they are now seeing that thing that they didn't quite understand, certainly didn't accept, but it was what they knew because that was where they were from, and to see it differently.
Yeah.
I share that to ask. We have Honoring Women's Month, as we're going to do in the month of March. And then there's International
Men's Day.
And Women's Day as well and all that. Okay,
Yes.
so
So there is International Women's Day that is celebrated on March 8th. And for the first time ever this year, we are going to be hosting a gala for our big 25th anniversary. In the past, we've celebrated the day by having a breakfast. We've had a brunch. But for the first time ever, we're having a gala, which I'm super excited about. Tickets are $150, and we are selling tables of 10 for $1,500. We previously had an early bird special where a table of 10 was sold for $1,350, but that ended on February 16th, so now you have to pay the regular price. But we are encouraging any and everybody to please join us at the gala. It's going to be wonderful. We have a keynote speaker, Miss Desiree Phillips, who is an equity consultant joining us from Canada. She joined us last year, and everybody raved. She was amazing with her delivery. She spoke about equity, which she'll be touching on again. But she's definitely going to be speaking, sharing the concept of inclusion and just talking about how it can be achieved amongst us, right? So that's very, very exciting.
And as you said, your theme, inspiring inclusion. And right or wrong, I've always been conscious of words. Maybe some would say the indoctrination, others would say the instruction. The idea that there's life and death is in the tongue. Words are important. And many times in Cayman, from my perspective, many words become a cliche. They should not, but they have. Inclusion has been one of them. Or they be so used that they're not only a cliche, but they're misused. Sustainability. And then I look back to the Cayman yesteryear, the days of my parents, where the mantra would have been waste not, want not. So they used everything. They were respectful of what they had. They did things like make provision, save for arena. The good, sensible, sustainable things to do. Here we are in 2024. So inspiring that inclusion, are there things that we're not doing that we don't realize how we are impacting people in a negative way, our daughters and sisters, our mothers and our aunts, and the other women in our society?
Yeah, I definitely, I hear what you're saying. I definitely think it is something that can be overused. However, we have to look at the actions behind the words, right? Obviously, there are many ways to ensure the needs, the interests, and the aspirations of women all together when you're looking at an organizational level. So I think, yes, things are being done, but there can always be more to ensure that women have a seat at the table and that they are included, right? So my answer to your question is, yes, we've made progress. It is 2024, and you've seen some women break certain barriers, but there can always be more inclusion, and we can strive for there to be a balance, right?
Yeah. If I might ask, and of course the phone lines are available for anyone who wishes to share, and 949-8037, 949-6990. As Mr. O.C. said this morning, those are the numbers we're operating with. Or you can WhatsApp call us at 925-32621. Sometimes we may look from a perspective and we may say, well, these things are over there in that developing country or that third world or whatever the term. But I wonder to what extent, when we're looking at the so-called democracies, the G20s and the G whatever else it is of the world, that we're ignoring that our women, and since we can, if it's okay with you, just focus on our women, they're not as included, invited, involved. We kind of still don't give them the level of respect. What do you think?
That's a good point. Yeah, but I'm just waiting on you, because the great thing is that as a man, you have recognized that.
I have 7 sisters,
Yeah, yeah. So I would actually turn that around. What do you think we could do to break that?
Okay.
Because I can talk all day.
And I want you to, and I will endeavor to try to, because I asked that question, right?
Yeah. And I think it's so important that we recognize, as a man, you recognize that. And I think one of the first step to change is recognizing that change needs to happen, right? Yeah, that's the pre-contemplation stage.
There it is, right? And I'm a family of 10. So as 3 boys with 7 wonderful sisters, we recognize that we have a phenomenal father, but a very powerful, independent-minded mother. And so my sisters would say, whoever end up with you boys as a husband, get men who already come trained. Right? I'll expound on that in a second. Maybe I won't. Maybe my brothers will call me and say, shh, keep quiet. But we do have a call online. I use the headsets to keep my hair in place, but I'll ask you to put on yours. As you go to the phones, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. Mr. Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon, sir. Good to hear from you. How are you?
Very good. I'm okay.
Fantastic gentleman. Well, thank you for joining us, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon to your guests.
Okay, it's Miss Amber Combe, if I didn't say it earlier. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, you were talking about inclusion and stuff and things like that.
Yes, sir.
Just let me give you a little summary of who we are, of where we come from. Now, Caymanians we're the stock and trade of our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
We are the birth of their dreams and the beneficiaries of their creations, and we are also the legacies of their birthright. Now, in fact, we came from ordinary people. We didn't come from any royalty background like some commanders like to claim. We did not come from any royalty background in Europe. We are the descendants of military deserters, mariners, and African slaves and indentured servants. So we have this diverse population, and we are really proud of it. But Wayne, it's not mosaic. It is not a population tapestry woven from many threads of our mutual experience. There's no melting pot here. There are no historical or political binary threads that weave a social and cultural Caymanian belonging atmosphere. Cayman is a venue providing intransitory financial services by many nationals of separate and different cultural and ethnic backgrounds, jockeying for economic hegemony.
Mm-hmm.
So, what we don't have is any cohesive standards for belonging participation. There are no red lines that do not threaten local culture and local historical traditions. That's the problem that we have. We're just going along, making money, and so forth. We don't have any measure of value other than economic, financial value, and so that's the problem we have. There's no region of a mosaic tapestry. As a country with so many different nationalities must be, that we recognize, and the pressing needs to address disparities, challenges in Cayman's communities. So here we are, Wayne.
Yes, sir.
Wayne, and our position is that all of this will not be realized without vision. And then vision means action,
mm-hmm.
and action means change and leadership. But always bearing in mind, Wayne, that what Nelson Mandela said about leadership. And he said that any person who changes his principles depending on who he's speaking to will not make a good leader. So the problem that we have here, Wayne, is that we have no standards in which we set for integration. We were colonized and subjugated by other people far away from us. And we have no model of what Cayman is, or what is the vision of Cayman. That's the problem that we have. So if we have to have prosperity, green, and security for all our people, we should have our goals set not in private management of population, but in a connected realization that we're all in this boat together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll leave you with this.
Yes, sir.
So we must understand that time is circular. Everyone deserves to be free of domination. No people deserve to be politically castrated by some other people. And no people should be forced to bow and scrape to another people. A shared mutual social economic framework, green-lighted biomedical decisions should empower us to do what is right in the best interest of all the people living here. There's room for everyone, and there's enough for everyone to share, and that is not what we're set for as a foundation for interaction between people. So all of this stuff about balls and all of that stuff is futile. What we need is a standard that we set for belongership, and for integration and for citizenship. That's what I got to say about it.
Thank you, and I would love very much to share with you more publicly at some point. But thanks for sharing that today, sir.
Yes.
All right, all the best to you.
Thank you.
All right, as I listened to Dr. Steve reference that, a lot of things came to mind, but as he spoke more, perhaps equality and equity sort of resonated. Your thoughts? Are those two words synonymous? Are they distinctly different?
Most definitely not. I guess it depends on how we're discussing it. So the way I look at it is you can have an equal opportunity. So I can give an example. If you, how tall are you? How tall are you?
Well, it depends. If you ask my friend, not tall enough. If you ask, no, less than 6 feet, more than 5.
Okay, so I am 5'3", but I know that you're taller than me. So let's give you 6 feet.
That's why I stand next to you.
6 feet.
Oh, how tall do I feel? 10 feet tall.
But you asked me, I would say 6 feet too. But in reality, when I go and I measure, I am 5'3", right? Yeah. So say me and you are standing behind a wall, right? The wall is 5'5". Both me and you are in front of the wall. That's us getting an equal opportunity. However, equity is ensuring that both of us can see over the wall. So the wall is 5'5". I'm only 5'3". You are 6 foot for right now.
You're so kind.
So you are able to see over the wall. We've both made it to the wall. That's equal opportunity. However, ensuring both of us can see over the wall would be equity. We have equity when we're provided with the same circumstances or the same resources to reach the same outcome, right? To see over the wall. So that's how I would describe that, right? And then inclusion, if we're going there, is making sure that we have representation at the wall, right?
No matter what.
That could be somebody with disability. It's recognizing that this person is also included and they may need more to see over the wall. However, that person is able to see things we perhaps will not be able to see. Like maybe the wall has a crack in it and it's going to come down pretty soon, right? So that person should also be included and they have value in what they bring to the table, right?
Yeah. I'm going to share something in a second, but I think we have a call, I'm told. Let's take this one. Miss Amber Combe, the parenting practitioner over at the Family Resource Centers, I guess. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling. Yeah, hello? Okay. Sometimes, it happens. Is this a good time to take the break, sir? I wonder if I take the break 2 minutes early, can I take the next one 2 minutes late? That would be equal. Just kidding. We're going to take this break, and when we come back, please rejoin us.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Now is the time to see LA your way.
The Cayman Airways LA midweek sale has been extended until February 24th.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
Water Authority is empowering the future and building a legacy in STEM through its annual scholarship program. Applications are now open for the scholarship, valued at up to $40,000, for a student pursuing an undergraduate academic or technical vocational degree or diploma in a STEM subject relevant to the Authority's work. The deadline to apply is February 29th, 2024. Visit www.waterauthority.ky to apply today.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
You don't sound too good there, Bobo.
Yeah, you know how it is. With the kids back in school, every other week they come in now with something, and then I catch it.
Sound like it catch you. But for real, brother, flu season is here and COVID is still around. You gotta stock up on things like medicine, vitamins, and minerals for you and the kids. You know what they say, prevention is better than cure.
At ValueMed, our pharmacists can help manage flu symptoms and provide guidance on vitamins and minerals to best support you and your family's overall health. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Town, or WhatsApp your questions and prescription refills to ValueMed on Walkers Road at 926-1662 or WhatsApp ValueMed in Town at 916-5511. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And as we get ready to take this next call, Ms. Amber Combe over the Family Resource Center. Thank you very much for being here and sharing with us. We can take the call unless you wish to share something first, or your call, Ms. Amber. Take the call?
Yeah, let's take the call.
See that? A gracious lady. Hey, well, wow. Okay. No,
That's fine.
Try it again. Third time may be a charm. But thanks very much. And I know you have to get back to do other things, so we'll be as respectful of you and your time. But the last caller, 20 points there,
Yeah, I definitely think he brought some valid points.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to again recognize, yes, he's saying that there should be a main line or like a structure, and to ensure that everybody is included and it's all fair. But I want to ensure that we're not getting lost in some of the verbiage when it comes to other ethnicities or other people from other countries joining us. And also recognize, the reason that we're here today is to talk about women inclusion for Honoring Women's Month, right?
Indeed.
And the purpose or the aim of the campaign is to highlight women's accomplishments and also to address gender-specific issues affecting women, right? And I've spoken about some of these examples before, like domestic violence, sexual assault, not being included in certain areas in the workplace. And I fully agree with the caller that, there should be some framework to ensure that it's equal amongst all genders. But right now we are speaking about society or historically has been deemed the lesser gender.
Yeah,
right. You know, even if you're thinking about ethnicities, we know who those ethnic minorities are and why there is Black History Month as an example, right? So right now we are starting the conversation for honoring Women's Month, just highlighting that, right? And the reason why we are here and the reason why we even have an honoring Women's Month. So as I've said, this is our 25th anniversary, but over the 25 years, the goal has been to provide awareness and education. We aim to create events that are centered on, you know, educating the public and raising awareness on these gender-specific issues, right? So like I said, we are bringing our keynote speaker, Ms. Desiree Phillips, to speak on the concept of inclusion and how it can be achieved. But we have so many other events, and some of them that I want to highlight are events happening between the 11th and 13th.
Okay.
I'm going to share.
Yes, please. So before I ask you, Ms. Alma, to do that respectfully, let's see if we can take this other call.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi, good afternoon, Dwayne and Amber. It's great to have you on the show.
Afternoon. How are you today?
Good afternoon.
Fine, thanks. I know she doesn't recognize the voice, but that's okay.
Well, send us a picture.
I wanted to.
I'm just teasing.
Yes, I'm catching as usual these days at the tail end here, but you know, Dwayne and I, Dwayne, you remember you and I were having a conversation the other day about domestic incident. And it goes. I know we have a dedicated day to domestic violence, but I just heard her.
Okay, can I? Sorry, just 1 second. I know. Let's going to make sure. I know I'm having a little bit of challenge just at the last part. Hearing you, Miss Amber, are you able to hear the caller?
It's breaking up a little.
Okay, so we're not hearing it well on this side. Mr. Paul over here. How is it over there?
Sorry, it's probably my hand over the speaker. Is that better?
Okay, just marginally. It's a little staticky, I guess is the word I would use, if that's a word.
But I've gotten the gist of it. Speaking about a domestic violence incident or issue.
Yeah, okay.
Right, yes, a domestic violence incident where, you know, a lady was being abused. And it just goes back to show that I am really comforted to hear that, you know, as usual, we've taken so much initiative to recognize, you know, women and to highlight women. One program, I think we definitely need to do more against domestic violence on an annual basis. You know, it's profound what we do here in the Cayman Islands, but I would like to see it happening more often, posters, I mean, more advertising, zero tolerance, that sort of thing, because it goes back to recognizing our women, to let them know that they have to feel safe and secure regardless of where they are, wherever they're from, that sort of thing. And another thing I would like to see more prominent is recognizing our young Caymanian, our young women in the Cayman Islands, because I don't think that our young women are given enough attention. I think there could be more done in terms of bringing our younger women out into the spotlight and helping them recognize their worth and what they can achieve. I myself was a young single parent at 15 years old, and my very first job when I was pregnant, my job at the time was as a hairdresser, and then I went on. My very first job was at Bank of Butterfield as a messenger, and I have gone on and accomplished various degrees, studying law and so forth. And I think that I want more attention for our young women in Cayman, because I just actually picked up a young lady on the street for two very local Georgetown families, and it was a reminder to me that I wanted to speak about this, because I want more done publicly and more often for our young people, but especially and more often our young women, to let them feel their sense of worth and self-value, and know that they can accomplish much more than what I've been seeing out and about for our young ladies in the Cayman Islands. So, you know, I hope I'll be able to attend that gala and try to be, you know, to promote as much as what's being organized for for these events. But please bear that in mind. I know you do. You have a young parents program.
Yes, we
there at
we
the
have a
Family
young
Resource
parents
Center.
program.
Yes.
And all of the events, the proceeds that are raised through events during the month of March go towards our young parent services. And what you said with, when it comes to working and just how you've made your way through, different jobs and I guess like broke the stereotype when it came to being a 15-year-old parent. That's exactly what we're trying to do, provide support to these young parents so that they see their self-worth is very high. They value themselves highly, right? So our program is a very comprehensive, it's a 12 to 18 month program. We work with them to improve their parenting skills. We provide employability support, and we also have a self-discovery component where the girls and young men, it's not just to females. We have a group with female participants, but we also service young fathers on a one-to-one basis. But it's providing them that support to recognize that, hey, yes, I am now a parent and things will be harder. It will be harder for me to perhaps achieve something my peer who does not have a child. It's going to be harder, but it's still possible through our. It's not impossible. And when we think about inclusion, even that is where we want to see inclusion. This young person who has a child now, they are still very much capable of going to college. They're still capable of going to get that job or becoming an entrepreneur or whatever it is their aspirations are. They're still able to meet those, right? And then you made reference to the domestic violence and seeing more of those campaigns. The Cayman Islands Crisis Center, they do a good job with promoting their content regarding domestic violence or no tolerance towards violence. But of course, we always encourage the public to get the topics going to, sharing it as much as you can as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So obviously, based on you just calling in, you have already probably stimulated that thought process in somebody's mind, like, oh, when was the last time I saw something? Maybe I'll look up something. Maybe I'll post on something, right? So I think it's very important for us as the Caymanian public too to get that conversation going and sharing resources that we come across as well, because the more the merrier, or the more exposure that topic is brought, then of course that message will be shared amongst the general public, right? One thing that I would say is at the Family Resource Center, we do provide a free legal befrienders clinic. That's not something I mentioned before.
I'm very aware of that also,
Yeah, so that's every Tuesday from 5:30 to 6:30. So it doesn't have to be specific to domestic violence or family related problems or legal issues. It can be just anything you want some legal advice for. You're welcome to come in. And then for domestic violence, we also provide a 3-day domestic violence intervention training program, which caters to frontline professionals. So that could be a police officer, a firefighter, a probation officer, a school counselor, anybody who may be on the front lines and come into contact with a victim of domestic violence and how they can best assist that person, right, in a trauma-informed manner. So from the Family Resource Center, those are some of the things that we cover when it comes to the topic of domestic violence. But of course, like I said, more discussion can be stimulated around the topic. And as a community, it is something that we should strive to have a no tolerance towards.
Right. So I just wanted to quickly, on the topic of the Legal Befrienders Clinic, I want to put a public call for attorneys, because I was there a few weeks ago on behalf of someone to get information before they actually went in. And it was a family court matter. And I was told that there were only five spots that they had taken in clients on because they were short of attorneys. And I intend to do a public cry for more attorneys. If you're in family law, please. And if this information that I was given is incorrect, you can correct me. But it was at the clinic. I was there maybe about 5 weeks ago. And I have had guests from the clinic on my show promoting the clinic, because I am all for free or reduced legal services, especially for our indigent and lower income families in the Cayman Islands. But I was a bit disappointed to hear that they don't have enough attorneys volunteering. So I take this opportunity to put out a call for more attorneys in the area of family law, criminal law, any area of the law, because you guys don't only cover family or criminal, and also for more what's the word I'm looking for now, for more attorneys to come out and to be mentors for our young people. I know they have some programs around for that, and I would like to encourage more female. This is another opportunity for this Women's Month to encourage more females to get into the legal field also.
Yes,
which
ma'am,
could in
most
turn
definitely.
benefit
Yes, ma'am.
the services you guys offer.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate you, appealing to the public or our lawyers specifically to volunteer with us. It is something that our lawyer numbers range every week because it is volunteer led. But yes, the more volunteers we can get, the better we're able to service the demand. So I thank you for that. When you're thinking about persons getting into the legal field, this is one of the topics that we're talking about this year through our events. It's one of the events that we're hosting called Inspire Her, Women Inspiring Girls. That's going to be held on the 9th, which is a Saturday, March 9th. And that's just for young women ages 13 to 18 to come out and hear of women in male-dominated fields and just really be inspired and discovered this is a field that they can find themselves in. Right? So it's going to look like a panel discussion. We're going to have inspirational or mentoring booths, and we're going to have a presentation from our keynote speaker from our gala. So it's going to be a very interesting event targeted to young women. So that is a way that we're stimulating that conversation this year.
Thanks for calling. Any other final points you want to share?
No, that's it. Thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity to hear my point.
Thank you for being willing to do so. Talk to you soon. All right, I know, Miss Amber, you, if you don't mind me saying, you bring not only a great intellect, but eloquence, and there is, I use the word passion, people have for the call and that they've answered, and you bring that so that we are inspired, even we who are, men.
Yeah.
And that's what we want in a society. People who are not only willing to take up the mantle, but are willing to constantly, raise the bar. Share with us in closing what you wish.
Thank you for that. My wish, being on the radio today, is for just people to start talking. If you see a shirt out, if you see a flyer for one of the events, or you see our hashtag or come across our page, just start talking about what inclusion looks like. How can I further inspire inclusion, right? And if you don't know what to say, you can join us at one of our events to get inspired. So like I had said earlier, we have so many different events throughout the month. Saturday, March 2nd will be our first event. We're having a female-owned pop-up market at Camana Bay. Female business owners are welcome to register for that market. We're going to be having 3 different sports related events this year. We have our Soca Beach Fitness Session, which is in partnership with School of Fitness on the 3rd, which is Sunday, March 3rd. We're going to be having a Flourish Women's Spiritual Fellowship event at the Vault, at the Compass Vault on the 7th. We have our big International Women's Day Gala at the Kimpton Seafire, which will be on Friday, March 8th, 6:30 p.m. And like I said, tickets for that go for $150, and your business or company, you're welcome to buy a table of 10 for $1,500. We have the Inspire Her event, which I just made reference to, where girls between the ages of 13 to 18 are welcome to listen to panelists of women who have broken the barrier and gotten them and found themselves in these male-dominated fields. We're looking at female mechanics. We're looking at a young lady in maritime. We're looking at female pilots. So those are the sort of panelists you can expect at that event. So if you are the parent, or if you're a parent of a young woman ages 13 to 18, please reach out to us and get them registered for that. Then we have a number of very interesting workshops happening between Monday, March 11th, and Wednesday, March 13th. This will be hosted by our keynote speaker, Ms. Desiree Phillips, who is an equity consultant and a registered psychotherapist. The first one is called Setting the Stage for Equity, so talking about how to provide those young women in general with those resources to meet the same level like we had spoken about earlier. We have the next one called Working with the Tapestry of Identity and Experience. And then we have the last one, which will be focusing on self-care, following the Ubuntu philosophy, which is an African philosophy. Then we have Honoring Women Networking Social, the 15th. The venue is still being finalized, but that is going to be at 5:30 once the venue is announced. Like I said, we have something for everybody. We're going to be having a tote bag workshop in partnership with Goodness, which is a Caymanian female-owned store, on Sunday the 17th. And then we're going to be having a parenting webinar on the Monday. And what I feel very proud about is we are also having an event in Cayman Brac this year, and that's always been something we've strived to achieve, making sure that our sister islands are also included in our Honoring Women Month events. So we are going to be hosting a school-based workshop called Empower Her Workshop in Cayman Brac on Wednesday the 20th, and that's going to be a morning workshop that we're doing in partnership with the schools. We have, like I said, we have something for everybody. We have a Women in Music Bingo Night, which is going to be hosted at Salty's on the 21st at 7 p.m. And interestingly enough, we are having a female-led farmers market on the lawn of the government admin building on Friday the 22nd. So that is going to be Women in Agriculture. We're going to have a workshop and have this market on the lawn, which is really interesting, and we're very thankful to the GAB for allowing us to do that. The final sporting event will be a football tournament where we have women and girls joining together to participate in a football tournament. And then we have our big 5K, our Color Me Purple 5K walk run, which will be held at the public beach at 6:30 a.m. on Sunday the 24th of March, right? And then the last thing, we have a STEM Girls Camp in partnership with Cayman Enterprise City on the 30th. And yes, we are mindful that that is Easter weekend, but I think it'll still be really beneficial, especially since the kids will be out of school, to get them into something fun, learning about STEM.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know people don't have social media, but the FRC website, they can get information.
Yeah, so we are very active on our Instagram page, our Facebook page, and this calendar will be uploaded there. So we hope to share that as soon as possible once we have all of the details, the finer details confirmed. But yes, you can reach out to us by email, which is frc@gov.ky. Our Instagram handle is frccayman, and we're happy to assist you by phone as well. Our phone number is 949-0006. Very easy. 0006. So there is no, we're just very easy to contact, and we're happy to help in any way we can. If you have any questions about, is this event appropriate for me to attend? Is this the age limit? What's the cost? Anything, any question you have is not too silly. We're happy to answer anything, and we're happy to have any and everybody support the events throughout the month of March. Even if you may have been a regular at one event and you're not able to make it, please join us at another event. We greatly appreciate the support. We love to see people wearing our t-shirts. Like I said, they are beautiful this year. They're only $25. I say only $25 in this economy, but realistically, a lot of shirts are selling for more nowadays, and it is a beautiful design, and it goes toward a great cause. Like I said, the funds that we raised throughout the month of March are going towards our young parent services, all proceeds, as well as for events just to stimulate discussion and for awareness, public awareness, or educational reasons. So yes, please support and get involved in the campaign. We cannot wait to hear from everybody, and we look forward to seeing you at our events.
Thank you very much, Ms. Amber. As always, final office for this discussion. You do a fantastic job. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, FRC, they're a little late in there, they include. All right, going to pause, and then when we come back, we'll ask you to please rejoin us.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
February is the month of love, and the Lions Club of Grand Cayman is pleased to bring you these 8 tips for better heart health. Don't smoke or use tobacco. Get moving and aim for at least 30 to 60 minutes of physical activity daily. Eat a heart-healthy diet. Maintain a healthy weight. Get quality sleep. Find healthy ways to manage your stress and get regular health screening tests. February is Heart Health Awareness. Keep your heart strong and keep loving yourself more and more. This message is brought to you by the Lions Club of Grand Cayman, serving the Cayman Islands for over 50 years.
Do you own a 1996 to 2016 Honda vehicle? There is an ongoing urgent safety recall regarding faulty Takata airbags that can seriously injure occupants in Honda vehicles. Please go to hondacayman.com/recalls to check if your vehicle is affected. The automotive industry continues to face an unprecedented challenge in the recall and replacement of millions of Takata airbag inflators. Honda is committed to addressing the needs and concerns of our customers who are affected by this safety issue. Honda stands behind the safety and quality of our products. The protection of the drivers and passengers in Honda vehicles is our paramount concern. Please go to hondacayman.com/recalls or call us at 949-5525 to check if your vehicle is affected by this urgent Honda safety recall.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us, and thanks to Ms. Ambercombe over at the Family Resource Center, the parenting practitioner, for sharing with us the events planned for Honoring Women Month coming up in March, and a remarkable calendar of events, as she said, almost something every day. So check out their website, talk to them in person by calling 949-0006 or the like. To one of our listeners, I would like to read this, and I'll read it and tell you why, if it's not obvious. One of our listeners writes, I am listening This young lady is such a smart woman. Very, very succinct. And I hope Miss Amber would allow us to share, with her publicly that through her, as we have the theme, inspiring inclusion, and to our parents, why it's so important that we look at our children, our biological or adopted, those we foster, those that we mentor, that we are positive and nurturing and including them and allowing them to see that someone has their back. And oftentimes in the past, we would question, we should give people flowers while they're alive. And good to see that we are doing that. And an individual like Miss Amber coming and very eloquently, very intelligently and intelligibly sharing with us so that we understand what is it that we're talking about, but we can be inspired and by extension feel included. It just shows you how remarkable this place is. It's not just paradise from the perspective of the sun and the sea and the sand. It's paradise because there's still a level of civility and stability, economically and politically and socially. And it's a great place. As we come back from the news break, we have a guest schedule. We know people's schedules are sometimes, as they say, fluid. If there isn't a guest, we will talk to it. If there is a guest, we'll speak to something else, right? But what we want to say to you as we go into the break, please recognize that we are here and it is incumbent. It is absolutely essential that we do all that we can to make this place the very best from the perspective that it's safe and sensible. We can move about freely, lovingly, kindly, and we're giving perhaps more than we're taking. All right, ready for the news? And when we come back, join us. We'll know what's going to happen until we do. Stay tuned.
Yesterday, today,
always and forever.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
With your latest headlines, I'm Jevi Ebanks. The Ministry of Planning, Agriculture, Housing, Infrastructure, Transport and Development announces that Mr. David Dixon, Director of the Department of Vehicle and Driver's Licensing, has been awarded the Deputy Governor's Employee for the month of December 2023. In international news, the parents of U.S. travel blogger Gabby Petito have reached a deal with the parents of her alleged killer, whom they sued for emotional distress. Ms. Petito was strangled in 2021. Authorities blamed her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, who later shot himself. Laundrie's parents were not charged but found themselves accused in a civil case of failing to disclose that their son admitted to killing her. That case has now been resolved and a trial avoided. Both sides said details of the resolution were confidential. Scientists have worked out how some of the largest whales in the ocean produce their haunting and complex songs. Humpbacks and other baleen whales have evolved a specialized voice box that enables them to sing underwater. The discovery, published in the journal Nature, has also revealed why the noise we make in the ocean is disruptive for the ocean giant. Whale song is restricted to a narrow frequency that overlaps with the noise produced by ships and sound that is crucial for the survival of whales, because it is the only way they can find each other to mate in the ocean. That's a look at your latest headlines. I'm Jevi Ebanks.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. It's Open Line on Talk Today. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990, or 925-3261. Call now.
Wait, so we're back on? All right. Thank you, Mr. Carl. Thank you. I was just looking to see if our guests were available, and I don't see them just yet. So maybe they're being chauffeured to the parking spot, maybe the valet parking. Who knows? To our listeners, the beautiful part of our live radio is that we have to always be accommodating, and we won't often share what transpires behind the scenes. But in this case, the guys who do the things that you don't see, they do it phenomenally, and they have to, from managing the radio on air to answering the phone. So publicly, Mr. Carl, thank you very much. And to our listeners, I don't see the guests just yet. We knew who was coming, we know how they were coming, and if they get here, we will deal with it. But the show must go on. So there's going to be some open line until there isn't. 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp call 925-3261 and share with us as you wish. All right. Who's going to be the next caller? Should we take the call, Mr. Carl? How about this? We pretend there's a call, and then he laughs. I had a quick opportunity during the break, and I tried to reference what was shared by the individual, but I must hopefully the message goes through. I can't access it for some reason. It won't open the link. So, but the accompanying sort of verbiage to the link was, have a read of this. Does this make sense to you? And it shared in a couple of the things. I thought, well, I got to read this article. Presumably it's to some publication, judging by, the sort of the word I've seen it. It would be a reputable publication, and is asking, me to have a look and see what it is. So I'll try to do that perhaps again during the next break if possible. But in the meantime, it's 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp call 925-3261. Let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi, good afternoon, Dwayne.
How are you today?
I'm good. I was trying to get through when your previous guest was there, but still wanted to share what I wanted to say, which was that I don't know if you realize that in Brazil, they have a law that they enacted back in July 2023, which is now effective March 1st this year, which calls for equal pay, equal work for male and female. Mm-hmm. And what they've done is that they've made it transparent so that companies have to actually publish, what they're paying for these roles to make sure that whether it's a male or a female, that the pay is equal. And it's also policed by the government, where they go in and do periodic, checks to make sure that this is being adhered to. I think that's a marvelous, thing that's happening there. Uh-huh. I was just wondering if we would ever see the day where Cayman would embrace such a thing,
Well, you'd want to think that we would, right? And we would want to think that here we are in 2024, and I referenced earlier the jokes of our stand-up comics globally that say, man, ever since they put a man on the moon, why can't we, solve this or cure that, But let me ask you, though, in the Cayman context, there are examples globally, in both, as you just shared, that we can point to, but because we have the different nations represented amongst our population, right? We have a statue in town that we honor women. We have a statue that shows the resilience, the resolve, and the actual, important contributions that have been made by our people and our women in particular. What is it that you think that is, that impediment? Why our women are not more publicly involved in politics or other things, not more celebrated, not more included? I mean, is there one thing, 1,000 things? What do you think?
Not sure. I don't know if it's more tradition, where women you're typically kind of focused on caring for the family. Could be that.
Could be.
And and then you have as outlier, women who are chasing their careers, and if you notice, with some of those women, we've had to sacrifice, our family lives in order to be able to climb that corporate ladder.
Right.
So I don't know if it's like a personal preference, like we look at our lives and try to figure out, what works for us. Some people are comfortable, in that corporate structure. Some people are comfortable in the family. I think that's what it is. So
right.
I think we're still more with tradition.
Yeah. Can I
how it is globally.
Yeah. And thank you for calling. Apologies for whatever reason you couldn't get through, right? But can I ask maybe two things if you have the time? We know in some jurisdictions they've passed legislation that would say, a percentage of the people in this sport or in this industry or, whichever, have to be, whether women or a particular ethnicity or something, right? You got to make sure that we get the numbers and whatever the reasons and justifications, they have this legislation, I think, for the Cayman context. We probably heard about, the equal opportunities afforded in the U.S. in terms of some of their policies emanating from the 70s relative to women in sports or other ethnicities in education. Do you think, two things, do you think that we need to do that in the Cayman context? I can show both Caymanians, but women in particular, to be so served and involved? Or what's your view?
Yeah, I think it's something that you have to kind of affect in the law, right? Because I think, if it's not in the law, people tend not to follow it. And, that's the only way that you're going to get something in place. I mean, if you think about it, that's how we've been existing now, right?
Yeah.
With us just trying to make sure that it'll work with everybody doing their part.
Right.
And obviously that doesn't work. So that's why I was thinking about it, that, I thought Brazil was brave.
Right.
To take that step to say, we don't care. We want women to be treated equally. We're going to put it in our laws, and we're going to compel you to do it. And not only are we going to compel you to do it, we're going to check and make sure that it's happening. And so I think all of that has to happen together. Like, I don't think we can leave it to, an organization or leave it to any special group to say, this is how it should work. I think if you don't write it down and police it, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
In asking you this next thing, I'm not saying this to be jovial, certainly not saying it to be, disrespectful, right? But we've heard it often, a woman, a man works from sun to sun, but a woman's work is never done. Many of us have heard that, right?
Yes, I have,
yeah. We've heard, things like if, you want it done right, get a woman. Don't send a man to do a woman's job, right? And then other things, and for me, I say this with utmost respect and appreciation. In our society, we can be so proud of our women, not just because they held the country together while their fathers and brothers and husbands and the like and sons were away at sea, but they, as they did then, they do now. They contributed to our society in very, very meaningful, positive, tangible and intangible ways, right? So, in saying that, do you think that when you mentioned earlier, the woman, she too wants to be a physician and an educator. She wants to be the lawyer and engineer. She wants to run her construction firm. She wants to do these things. But, and if I'm wrong in this, tell me. But my understanding that it's only a woman or the female that can give birth. So she wants to carry on life. So she has to be, the one that gives birth. So she has to choose between, seemingly society says, well, you can't, be a mother and be a career person or, and the like. There's two parts to that.
Okay.
Okay.
I was just going to say that, we consider that, the norm in certain circumstances, but you can see where in certain areas, like people are pulling away from that.
Right.
Increase now where the men are willing to stay at home.
Okay.
If the woman's, salary or job is better paying, just to make sure that they have a household that can function effectively.
Right.
So that's what I was saying first, about tradition.
Exactly.
That's kind of where it's coming from. We've got to break that tradition as well.
Right.
Because whether you're a man or a woman, we're all capable of the same. and we should not be getting paid, differently for the same job that we're carrying out. It shouldn't matter who's doing it.
Not.
It should be paid by the role that you're doing.
You bring a skill set to the table. You have the ability, not only the expertise and experience, and you the aptitude, and you're doing it. And this is a $5 job or $5 million job. It's done to that standard. You get paid irrespective of who you are, right? It's on merit, but we know that's seemingly not the reality. So I really appreciate to expound on what you shared at the outset, because it inspired me to ask that question. Do you think, though, that in Cayman, if the family, and again, I'll make it simple and easier for me to understand, you have these two people, and one is a man and one is a woman, as I define them, and they both agree, listen, you go in a career and he's going to stay home and be the primary one to cook, clean, wash, take care of the children, and that thing that may have been reversed a century ago, or for some maybe last year. Do you think our society is willing to look at that and see them as being very sensible in what they're doing in terms of keeping their families together and being the ones who influence their children's values? Or will we still look at him and condemn him and look at her and condemn her?
Well, I think it would work. We just have to change our mindset, right? And be a little bit more accepting. And look, when you have marriages, people are coming in with different skill sets. One may be a doctor, and one may be, I don't know, just for example purposes, one may be, maybe a cashier. And so, when you start to bring children into that union, and you look at it, maybe it makes sense for your family, for the wife who is a doctor, to continue with her career, so that you're able to provide for the family. So what is wrong with the male staying home then, in that example, to raise the children? Because that works better for the family unit. So it's a mindset. I think we have to step away from what we've predefined as gender roles, saying that a woman always has to do this and a man always has to do this, and start to look at everyone as individuals, and start to look at what we bring to the table and compensate us for that.
We have a WhatsApp call, but before we take that, not dismissing you, but anything else you want to share?
No, I thought it was relevant to that conversation that was happening earlier, and I just wanted to use it as a teaser. So thank you for your time, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you for calling, and if it's okay, I would like to extend publicly, please call as much as you wish. Please reach out to me if you want to put together a panel discussion and be part of the discussion, because we need to hear from people who, like you, don't share as often as you probably could and would, but we will be benefited greatly if you would.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. Have an awesome weekend.
Okay. You too.
All right. Thanks. All right. Do we take the next call, my good friend? Hey, welcome as we go to the WhatsApp call. Thanks for calling.
Thank you for taking my call, Dwayne. Good afternoon to you and to your listeners.
And to you, sir. Thank you for calling.
Well, sometimes I sit and I say to myself, today I'm not going to call. I just want to listen to Dwayne and his guests.
And sometimes I sit to myself and go, man, I hope he doesn't do that. I hope he calls today. And there you do.
Well, you see. So, but you raised a point that I sort of like we've discussed before, but I would want to have background noise here, which I have to get rid of. So I apologize about that.
Okay. There's a part of me that wants to make a joke too, but I won't do that, because you know what? If tomorrow was a day I'll be on air, I would make the joke today so I can take the licks tomorrow. But you get rid of the background noise, and I'll refrain from trying to be jovial.
Yeah, I'll try. You see, I thought it was.
We can hear you.
It might be also, maybe, I don't know. I just can't find it. Let me. Come on, this is so terrible. I'm going to my back and I can't. Okay. Let me see if I can call you back in a couple of minutes if I can. I don't know.
Okay, great. You do that, and then we will. Do we take the final break, sir? Take the call. Can I get chocolate? All right, we're going to pause. The gentleman says he's going to try to figure out on his end. He'll call us if he can, but we'll take other calls. Stay tuned.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymanational.com today.
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Now is the time to see LA your way.
The Cayman Airways LA midweek sale has been extended until February 24th.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by CG Britke. Insurance, health, pensions, life, where people come first.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
All right, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. My chair is not sliding to the desk, man. I need these wheels need some WD-40. All right, let's see if we can join the last caller who has rejoined us. Welcome back, sir.
Well, thank you very much, OC. This is partly of the beauty of Cayman. You see, if I had been on a call in the United States, they could have charged me $1 million for wasting 1 minute, you know. So,
again, I refrain from jokes.
Actually, I had you open in 2 windows. It was actually your show, you know. I had you open in 2 windows. But anyway, now, OC, you see, that's now my next point. You know why I'm saying?
Tell me what.
You know why I'm saying? Because your caption on YouTube says the Ored Corner.
Mr. Carl, is that what's happening?
Yeah. There's that usual mistake. It says Ored Corner on your show.
Okay, so let me tell. So Paul, I know he's managing so much. I mean, our guys behind the scenes are managing like multiple things simultaneously. So he's saying the caption on the YouTube is incorrect. It's saying OC, he says. So anyway, but people shouldn't confuse us because I'm the handsome one. I mean, just saying.
Exactly, and I can't argue with that one. And you see, on top of that, when this is the one time it has gone wrong, maybe in 1,000 times, so we shouldn't be critical, you know. So
as we
anyway,
should, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say something about you spoke about whether it is necessary in certain activities to have a percentage, like, you know, assigned to either women or a certain category of people, and that's always very interesting because, you know, I was reading some legislation a long time ago from New Zealand. This is like maybe about 10 years ago. As I was writing some legislation again in Cayman, and I was trying to find something I could draw some ideas from. And I found this piece of legislation which said that at least 50% of the particular board must be men.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't seen that before because previously, of course, usually, like you would sometimes say, so many have to be women because that's the category which needs sometimes to be given equal opportunity.
Yeah.
But I found that very interesting. But they found that in certain boards in New Zealand, the women were very often the majority.
Mm-hmm.
So the men said, no, this is too much. Can you say that at least 50% must be men?
Mm-hmm.
But talking about that on a broader issue, it is always good to have targets of marginalized people. But at the end of the day, those targets have to be supported by programs
right.
nationwide that makes them feasible. Like you can get up today, for example, and say you're going to have, you want to have 50% of the lawyers in the government and in the private sector to be Caymanian by a certain year. But if you are not getting ready to produce people who will be capable of entering law school, it won't work. So what you have to do is to start creating a program that is nationwide, a kind of Marshall Plan, if we can borrow the plan that was used at the end of the Second World War.
Right.
It has to be a Marshall Plan. It has to say, okay, how many kids are entering school who are Caymanian, how many are status holders, how many are PR holders, and then project to see how at the end of 12 years, like how many drop out, how many don't drop out, and how many are in the sciences, how many are in the arts, and so forth. And then you try to change the policies and make allocations of resources as early as kindergarten to ensure that the targets that you set in terms of people who leave school and the professions they will get into, so that they can be feasible. And that's where I think in Cayman, I won't say that has been a failure. I think more needs to be done. Okay, like people can talk, for example, about like OC this morning they were talking about why can't we have more Caymanians in the police? Why can't we have more Caymanians in that position? But so long as the statistics starting from kindergarten are not good, that's not going to happen. I benefited a lot from two researches which were done by two young Caymanians. One was Dr. Mikana Scott, who finished her PhD, I think it was early last year. And she said, well, look, in employment,
mm-hmm.
I think she said that there were about 28% only like indigenous Caymanians in employment. And then another lady, what's her name, Latoya Francis, she did the research from the other side now, from kindergarten, and found that in the kindergarten schools, those which were doing very well and were certified internationally to be good, only about 20% of Caymanian kids went to those schools.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 80% were expats and other people who were coming in.
Right.
Now, it doesn't matter what targets you set. If you are not getting the raw material from kindergarten to make those things feasible, it's never going to happen.
Right.
That is why, if I can close on this as you come to the end of the show, DWAYNE, when people have spoken in Cayman about immigration reform and all those, the reason why a lot of things have failed in that particular area is really because there has been no like planning at a macro level.
Uh-huh.
You can put together a committee like they had with Dr. Steve's committee, which I believe recommended that only people with Caymanian heritage and only people with who are married to Caymanians can be Caymanian, which is very drastic. Now, people may agree or not agree with it, but I think what people have to probably accept as a matter of principle is that you need that kind of a drastic step for you to be able to achieve some of the things that you want to achieve.
Right.
You see, this issue of nationality, there are a lot of people in Cayman who know Mario Balotelli, the black Italian guy who was born in Palermo in Sicily, and he got Italian citizenship when he was 18 years old, speaks Italian fluent. But you know, with Mario Balotelli, couldn't get citizenship because they couldn't give it to him just because he was born in Sicily, which is part of Italy. they couldn't give him citizenship. He had to wait until he could earn it himself when he was 18. Okay? And yet, people of Italian parentage, like those who had grandparents and parents from Italy, find it much easier. In fact, they could get citizenship much more easily if they went to Italy than a guy who was born there. Why? Because they emphasize that heritage. So I really think that at the end of the day, targets are good, but in the end, they have to be supported, the particular programs. And those programs are not going to work by just saying, well, let's change the point system, because the point system is one of about 20, 25 things that you have to do in order to be able to achieve your ends. And at the end of the day, has to be like practically a 20-year program. If in Cayman you are going to get even about 50% indigenous Caymanians in jobs, the program can't be done in 5 years. It has to be done probably over 20 years because it has to take place in all these main areas, and you have to always keep updating it and working towards a Marshall Plan.
Yeah.
I should stop there. I think I'm about 1 minute before you end. I thank you very much.
You are very, very, considerate with the time always, and I sort of want to invite you specifically to have this discussion, because I think you can do it both from the academic perspective, but from such a way that the society can hear it and understand that it can be discussed as emotive as it may be. It can still be discussed in a very respectful, inclusive forum. For our next discussion, and perhaps we can set it up at some point over the weekend, let's talk about the idea of, I'll share it with you publicly and invite the public to consider it. We see affirmative action programs, globally. And with that, perhaps what you're sharing somehow, I'm asking, is that what we're talking about in the Cayman? If so, again, taken from what you shared, in addition to the societal will, there needs to be this, in quotation marks, political will to drive this forward. So,
yeah,
the underlying
political will is another thing, but not for today. And that
no.
Is a big problem.
Right. So this is what I'm putting publicly and to you specifically, inviting and another discussion, specifically on this, because we see the immigration issue. But is it then that we are either deliberately or unconsciously in a space where there is this, for want of a better way to phrase it, this new and emerging social paradigm? Is it, social reengineering, whether conscious or unconscious, that has or is taking place, and in short order, by that I mean 20, 40 years, we'll see a completely redefined Cayman landscape that is unrecognizable, and not necessarily one where the value and the ethos and the practices are in keeping with what made the country respectable internationally, made the country, that place where people wanted to live, so they immigrated, or the place where people remained for generations because there was a sense of civility, the sense of, despite we use it today, inclusion. People were welcome. People now are feeling a growing pressure. Is that something that we can share it publicly? We can talk about. Ray Banker, my good friend, would say curate, for a future show.
Oh, yes, we can. You've already got my mind going in all directions. Yes, we can. We can.
And as he borrowed from Obama, he said, yes, we can. Well, listen, thank you very much, Mr. Balika. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful weekend, sir.
You too.
Okay. And with that, we want to invite you to join Mr. Art on Monday morning for the record. We want to also ask you to do a number of things this weekend. Purposefully, consciously, with a great sense of consideration. Think about our actions and our inactions. Do we have the courage to stand and be counted? Are we prepared to draw alongside our neighbor, our spouse, our children, our parents, and be and do that which we know we should because it's the right thing to do? Or are we prepared to continue to measure who we are by the amount of money we have? Is it the material possessions that dictate and define our very being? Or is it the idea that our legacies will see a people who've done great things for others necessarily have just made money? It's not, about being naive. It's about noble gestures. It's not about individuality, but an idealistic approach to something that is going to mean something because it's meaningful now. I love this place and the people, and I'm honored to be a part of it. And as I have consciously and deliberately not left the Cayman Islands in 5 years, it's because I've had an experience and a vacation, as it says, an education each and every day from the many friends from many walks of life, from many nationalities who live and work amongst us, who have invited me into their homes, who shared with me in ways that I respect every day and appreciate. My fathers, like the men of his day, their travels as they worked, sometimes in dangerously quarters as they plied the high seas, who would come back home and tell us stories about the people he met and the places he's been. And now I can understand why he has such a healthy respect. And as a quite honest human man, he's taught us much. Well, we have much here, and we can choose to, I would say, it wouldn't be, but let me be more respectful. We can cuss and complain, or we can actually compliment and be committed. I invite us to consider that the former is destructive, the latter is much more, the thing we should do. So, have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you when I do. I trust and pray that we'll make it the very best, and we'll be a part of it. Come tomorrow, the Cayman Festival event tomorrow evening at the Cayman Baptist Church is a place we could be a part of. So as you sit in fellowship, may you be prayerful and purposeful. Until Monday, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949